Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about another interesting topic that has to do a lot with diversity and disability in the modern workplace. So I've been quite recently playing the video game Citizen Sleeper. I'm talking about both parts one and two. And if you've ever played it, it's a game about surviving inside of systems, whether economic systems, corporate systems, or technological systems. So, in a way, you're constantly imagining time, energy, resources, and every day, in a sense, is optimization. What struck me the most, though, is not the mechanics necessarily, but it's just that the game itself never frames struggle as a personal moral failure, and it's rather addressed as a structural one. So the constraints aren't necessarily there because our character is broken, but it's more that the system is designed in a specific way. And that got me thinking about something in the real world, let's say socially, especially in workplaces, we often do the opposite. So when someone doesn't fit, when they need clearer communication, predictable structures, flexibility, accessibility, the assumption is often that the person is the issue. And I think that we're actually seeing something rather closer to overfitting. And to further explain that in engineering and machine learning, overfitting happens when a model performs very well under narrow training conditions, but does fail to integrate and to generalize real world variation. So in a sense, it does look efficient, it does look optimized, but it's very brittle. And I think many of our modern systems, particularly corporate ones, are overfitted. They are optimized for one type of worker, one productivity rhythm, one communication style, one cognitive norm, and a physical baseline. So as long as everyone fits in that narrow profile, the system appears smooth and efficient. But the moment real human variance is introduced in the picture, different minds, different bodies, different processing styles, the system strains. And instead of revisiting the model, we blame the variance, right? We call it inefficiency, lack of culture fit, or special treatment. But in engineering, variance isn't an inconvenience, it's the actual reality. So robust systems are designed to tolerate variation. Fragile systems do collapse under that. And here's where I want to shift the framing a little bit. For neurodivergent people and disabled people, they are not edge cases. What's actually happening in the system that has defined what normal is super narrow, so that in reality, most humanity and human diversity would fall into a category of an anomaly. And that's not a minority problem. It is a modeling problem. So when the system only works under narrow conditions, it is not efficient. It's overfitted. And that's where we have real discrimination, exhaustion, exclusion, burnout, etc. And many systems today are optimized primarily for short-term profit and throughput. And throughput optimization tends to minimize variance tolerance. It does prioritize speed and uniform output, but not necessarily adaptability. So long-term resilience requires something different. It does require systems that can handle variance without destabilizing. In engineering, when a system can tolerate variation, we don't say variation shouldn't exist. We say the design is incomplete. So different minds and different bodies don't break healthy systems. They reveal fragile ones. They expose hidden assumptions. They demand clarity. They surface inefficiencies that others have silently adapted to. And when a system adapts to include that variance, it becomes stronger, more robust, resilient, and sustainable. So in that sense, inclusion isn't charity. it's a structural intelligence. If your system only works for narrow definition of normal, it is not optimal, it's brittle. Maybe the real innovation isn't in forcing people to conform to fragile systems. Maybe it's about redesigning those systems to reflect the full range of human reality. That's not just better for neurodivergent people, but that's clearly better engineering and ultimately a better society. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you play the games as well, you enjoyed them. Have a lovely day. Take care.